Shalom from Israel to all of the Daystar viewers around the world. I'm Moshe Bar Tzvi, the producer and founder of Israel Now News. We at Israel Now News are dedicated to bringing you the full story and the truth about Israel from Israel. It's written in the Holy Bible when David said in Psalm 25:5, "Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. For you I wait all the day long." And God says in Zechariah 8:16, "These are the things that you shall do. Speak out the truth to one another. Judge with truth and judgment to peace in your gates. And always search for the truth, and the truth shall set you free." John 8:31. I hope you enjoyed the program. God bless you from Jerusalem. Shalom, shalom.
Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, thousands of Israelis filled the streets of Jerusalem during the funeral procession for Yoav Hatab, Philippe Ram, Yohan Cohen, and Francois Michel Saada, the four Jews murdered in Paris on Friday, January 9th. The families of the victims chose to bury their loved ones in the Holy Land after a Muslim terrorist gunned them down in a kosher supermarket in the French capital. The victims were eulogized by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Reuven Rivlin at a state ceremony in the hills of Jerusalem. Memorials for all of the victims of the attacks in France were held throughout Israel. Aaron has more on that story.
Yes, Yochanan. Vigils were held throughout the country, gathering in tribute to the victims of this senseless tragedy. Hundreds assembled in downtown Jerusalem to honor those killed and to demonstrate solidarity with the French people. Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat called the terrorism in Paris an attack on all of us, the Jewish people, on freedom of the press and expression, as well as the souls of France and Western democracies. A large delegation from Israel participated in the unprecedented unity march of millions in Paris in the wake of the attacks, which claimed the lives of 17 people over 3 days of terror. 12 people were killed by the Islamist extremist brothers Sharif and Saeed Kouachi. An unarmed French policewoman was executed in the streets of Paris the following day by an unknown accomplice to another radical Islamist, Ahmedi Koulibaly, who then perpetrated yet another attack at the kosher supermarket in the capital, selected as a target in his campaign to murder as many Jews as possible.
Some Israeli leaders were shocked when France invited Palestinian Authority Chairman Mahmoud Abbas to attend the march against terrorism in Paris. The PA boss is one of the fathers of modern terrorism and a known Holocaust denier. Abbas was allowed to march alongside world leaders where he appeared to be appalled by the bloodshed, in spite of calling for suicide bombings and attacks on Jews in Israel similar to the Paris massacres. Israeli Cabinet Minister Naftali Bennett, who attended the Paris rally, was outraged to hear that France had extended an invitation to Abbas. He said, "If we want to fight terror, we have to call it by name." Both Abbas and the Emir of Qatar, who was also invited to the rally, have their hands full of the blood of terror. Member of Knesset Moshe Feiglin expressed his shock, saying not only are they afraid to name the enemy, but they actually invited it to the event in the form of Palestinian Authority Chief Mahmoud Abbas, who makes a living off terror. It's important to note that the Hamas terrorist organization, with whom Abbas's Fatah party formed a unity government, publicly celebrated the violent massacre of 17 people in France. Hamas posted pictures of the 3 Muslim terrorists to their official Facebook page, praising them as martyrs, saying that they were the heroes of the raid on Paris and that they were dispatched by Allah.
Al-Qaeda in Yemen claims to have directed the terror attack against the Charlie Hebdo magazine in France. Intelligence officials in both the U.S. and Sana'a have confirmed that Saeed Kouachi was trained in Yemen and returned to his home country with instructions to carry out an attack there. Senior al-Qaeda cleric in Yemen, Sheikh Harith al-Nadhari, released a statement blessing the raid in Paris against those whom he referred to as the filthy French, who are the heads of the infidels who insult the Prophet. He went on to praise the heroic Mujahideen, who taught the French a lesson in the limits of free speech, saying that France has been targeted because of its obvious role in the war on Islam and oppressed nations.
Amnesty International estimates that as many as 2,000 people were ruthlessly murdered by the Islamic group Boko Haram last week. Muslim militants destroyed an entire village in what is being called the deadliest attack in the history of the terror group. Reports specify that the majority of the dead were women, children, and elderly people who were unable to outrun the terrorist. Boko Haram has waged war against Western education and is fighting to impose Sharia law throughout Nigeria. Last year alone, the terror group's vicious campaign of senseless slaughter claimed the lives of more than 10,000 Christians and moderate Muslims.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is calling for an Islamic revolution. Speaking at one of the oldest and most prestigious religious schools in the Sunni world, al-Sisi said that Islamic texts have been interpreted to the point that the religion has become a source of destruction, saying that the 1.6 billion Muslims are antagonizing the entire world. He called on imams of the faith, who are responsible to Allah, to prepare the community of Muslim believers. Al-Sisi is a moderate Muslim and the general who commanded Egypt's army to overthrow the Arab Republic's Muslim Brotherhood terrorist government in 2013, which was ironically supported by the U.S. government.
Iranian soldiers and their proxy army, Hezbollah, are reportedly guarding the construction of an underground nuclear weapons facility in Syria. Syrian rebels have confirmed reports of suspicious Iranian and Hezbollah troop movement near the site of a massive underground nuclear facility just a mile from the Lebanese border. The nuclear plant, codenamed Zamzam, is said to involve Iranian and North Korean nuclear weapons experts. Satellite imagery mentioned in a recent article by the German publication Der Spiegel appears to show that the facility has direct access to the Syrian power grid and to the water supply, which is essential for the production of atomic weapons. Intelligence experts have disclosed that the Syrian regime has transferred 8,000 nuclear fuel rods to Zamzam.
Staying with Iran, and the hardline Islamic Republic has become even more emboldened and is even bragging of its dominance over the West. An official in Tehran spoke out, saying that the West has abandoned the possibility of military action against his nation. Iranian Revolutionary Guard General Ramizan Sharif told crowds gathered in the city of Rashat that the enemy has grown disappointed with military confrontation with the Islamic Republic and has now resorted to a clash of wills, views, and insights in its attempts to change Iranian behavior.
Islamic State hackers have hijacked the Twitter and YouTube accounts of the U.S. military's Central Command. The terrorists published the personal contact information of senior American military officials, as well as what they claimed were classified documents from the Pentagon. The terrorist group sent threatening messages saying, "American soldiers, we are coming. Watch your back." The message was signed by ISIS, #CyberCaliphate.
A recent study by an NGO dedicated to coexistence in Turkey has found that Jews are the group most targeted by hate speech in the country's media. The Hrant Dink Foundation also revealed a dramatic rise in anti-Semitic speech, and that while Turkish Armenians and Christians were also the subjects of hate, Jews were the focus of abuse. The director of Turkish Studies at the Middle East Media Research Institute said that demonstration of anti-Semitism is published on a near daily basis in Turkish media.
The Israeli Security Agency and the Jerusalem Police closed 3 Palestinian non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, last week for funneling money to incite violence on the Temple Mount. According to authorities, the 3 NGOs raised money with the purpose of funding activities meant to disrupt the security of the visitors to the Temple Mount in order to inflame tensions and cause disturbances while harming the sovereignty of the State of Israel at the holy site. A senior Hamas operative who was arrested by Israel last year admitted that the terrorist group was paying Arab youths between 4,000 and 5,000 shekels a month to incite violence on the Temple Mount and prevent Jews and Christians from entering the holy site.
An ancient Torah scroll stolen by the army of former Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein has made its way home to Jerusalem. The biblical document was likely recovered by American soldiers during the Second Gulf War and smuggled to the Israeli embassy in Jordan, where it was stored for several years. After the Israeli embassy in Cairo was evacuated in 2011, embassy staff in neighboring Jordan were also instructed to transfer all property to Israel in fear of similar riots breaking out in the Hashemite kingdom. The Torah scroll was then transferred to the foreign ministry in Jerusalem, where a caretaker discovered that it had been stamped with the official seal of the intelligence division of the Iraqi army. Now, this special Torah scroll has been restored and placed in the synagogue at the Israeli Foreign Ministry, where it can be read daily. And that concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Reinstein, and we're here in a beautiful day in Jerusalem on our rooftop studio. My guest today is Tamar Shapira. She is the Director of International Affairs for Save a Child's Heart. Tamar, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tamar, tell our viewers a little about what is Save a Child's Heart.
So Save a Child's Heart is an Israeli-based international program based at the Wolfson Medical Center in Holon, just south of Tel Aviv, with the aim of improving the quality of pediatric cardiac care for children from developing countries. In order to achieve this goal, we bring children from all over the world, from countries that have no medical care to take care of children with heart problems. We bring them to Israel to undergo life-saving heart surgeries. We train medical teams from these places so that they can go back and treat children by themselves. And we send medical missions to these places to teach and train and diagnose together with the local teams.
Why have you decided to do this type of work? Why is it important for an Israeli organization to help children around the world?
The program was established at the end of 1995 by an American heart surgeon named Dr. Ami Cohen. He immigrated to Israel and started to work at the Wolfson Medical Center, and he established the program from the belief that if we can, we should, which means he had the ability. He was working at Wolfson Hospital. They were able to operate and save children with heart problems. However, there were millions of children, there are still millions of children in the world who need heart treatment in order to stay alive. And Ami believed that if he can, he should, and he started to dedicate his life for this mission of saving children with heart disease.
One of the things that's unique about the program is that you actually help children from states where they're enemy states. I understand that you help children from Gaza as well as from Syria. Why is it important to help the children of even our enemies?
That's correct. We save children regardless of where they come from, regardless of the color of their skin, their origin, the occupation of their father, and their financial statement. Because we believe that a child is a child. And the medical teams who are working day and night at Wolfson Hospital to treat these children, when they see a child or they see a mother or a family or a father, they don't think of where they come from. They just know that this child needs their help in order to survive, and they do what they can to help this child. And perhaps this is also the place to say that these medical teams who work at Wolfson Hospital treat on a daily basis Israeli children who come to the hospital, but all the treatment of the children of Save a Child's Heart is done on a voluntary basis.
We've seen horrific pictures coming out of Syria about the hundreds of thousands of people who've been slaughtered there. You've had some impact in trying to help people from Syria. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we treated a few children from Syria. Some of them came through Jordan from refugee camps, but some of them also came directly from inside Syria. I cannot elaborate more on that from obvious reasons, but again, it's very important to understand that Save a Child's Heart as a program, we don't have a political agenda. For us, we treat children whether they're coming from Syria or from Gaza or from wherever. And of course, Syrian children are treated at the hospital like any other children. And it's also important to understand that Save a Child's Heart children are not treated separately or in different places at the hospital. In one room at the Wolfson Medical Center, you can find children from Israel, from Gaza, from Syria, from Africa, all treated by the same doctors and nurses in the same manner, with a very dedicated aspect to it.
What are the reactions of some of the children that you're helping from Gaza or from Syria or from their families? They're taught that Israel is their enemies, yet they see here are Israelis trying to save their lives. How does that affect them?
Yeah, it's a very good question because first of all, I'm often asked this question, and also when being there at the hospital, you see the families come. And many times, especially the families from Gaza, from Iraq, from Syria, they come with lots of fear. They come sometimes to places that, as far as they know, was the worst enemy possible. But I suppose that's what parents do, that's what mothers do, that's what fathers do. They cross half the world, they'll do anything possible to save their life of the children. And then they show up at Wolfson and they meet these doctors and nurses who look them in the eye and do everything they possibly can to save their child's life. And they end up staying in a room at the hospital next to a mother from Gaza, next to a mother from Israel, next to a mother from Africa, and they all spend probably one of the most difficult weeks of their lives. And I'm sure it makes a difference. As I said, we have no political agenda and we are here for saving the children. But I always say that if, in addition to saving the lives of the children, we manage to narrow gaps and build bridges between people, then it's a benefit for all of us.
Tamar, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
Join the Save a Child's Heart family. That's my message. We have people all around the world. As I said, it's an Israeli-based program, but we have affiliates, we have offices all around the world. One of the biggest offices in the States. And you know, we welcome every single person who would like to be involved, whether it's by sending greeting cards to children, whether it's by donating toys to the house, whether it's by donating funding to save children's lives, or whether it's by donating a department at the hospital that we're just building in Wolfson for children with heart disease from around the world. Every single help is extremely helpful, and we welcome all of you for the Save a Child's Heart family.
Thank you, Tamar, for being on the show, and thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up next, shining light from Israel.
Israel, the holy land of three religions, and the world capital of agrotechnology. Technology which has overcome acute shortage of water, arable land, and natural resources to make the desert bloom. And is now on a mission to overcome global challenges of food security. Israel has partnered with India, the most promising country in agriculture, to create a revolution called I4, Israel Innovation in India. The motto, to grow more with less. Less land, less water, less fertilizers, less energy. To achieve more productivity, more prosperity, and more sustainability for farmers. The drip irrigation technology invented in Israel provides the right quantity of water and fertilizer to your crops at the right time and the right place. Drip irrigation has been widely used in India since the last 30 years and has transformed the Indian agricultural system. Today, even small and marginal farmers can afford drip irrigation and increase their yield substantially. I4, feeding the world. The Israeli agri-sector provides world-class net houses, temperature and moisture-controlled greenhouses, biofertilizers, drought and disease-resistant seeds, post-harvest technologies, as well as packing and processing methods to improve yield quality and quantity. You have changed your old phone to a smartphone. It's now time to change to smart agriculture. Dairy farms. Dairy technology provides optimum productivity from livestock. Obtaining 45 liters of milk per cow per day is possible with the latest technology. Get ready to raise healthier, more productive and more profitable cows, resulting in a better quality of milk and a wider range of milk products. Israel is also a leading destination in poultry, bee culture, aquaculture and the livestock industry. I4, using every drop, Israel has achieved the highest ratio in the world of crop yield per water unit, thus making Israel the world's water management guru. Israeli companies offer cutting-edge solutions in a number of technologies related to water leakage, water safety and security, advanced wastewater treatment, advanced desalination, novel water production, as well as machinery and filtration equipment. I4, building the future together. For both India and Israel, agriculture is our culture and is at the core of our bilateral relations. The two countries have now come together with the aim of increasing crop diversity, productivity, and resource use efficiency. Israel is building 30 centers of excellence in agriculture in 10 Indian states. More than 15 such centers have already started functioning. Mashab, Israel's agency for international development cooperation, has partnered with the National Horticulture Mission and various state governments in this project. The results are astonishing. There has been an increase in productivity up to 10 times, a saving in water up to 50%, and a saving in fertilizers up to 75%. These centers, which are visited by thousands of farmers each year, are ushering the second green revolution in India. Come, join us. Be a part of this revolution.
Please stay tuned for the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
You know, the other day I was just thinking that everything that I have and everything that I know how to do, I learned it from someone. Just the same way I'm walking right now. I learned it when I was born, and then after that, I observed my surroundings, I observed my parents, and then I just learned how to walk. The same way when I went to school, I learned how to read and write because my teachers showed me how to do that. You know, in Philippians 3:17, Paul is talking to the church and saying that imitate me, because Paul was imitating Jesus. So Paul was telling to the church that we need to imitate Jesus, and we need to have mentors. We need to have people who guide us on how to live our lives. You know, in Proverbs 4, we can read that the Word says that the Word will give you insight and wisdom to your life. In Hebrews 4, you can read that the Word is sharper than a two-edged sword. So surely the Bible is the best guide in how to get to know what God wants you and me to do with our lives. Just the same way I'm driving with a car. My driver instructor when I was younger taught me how to drive because I was following his instructions. While we're driving in our lives, we need to be looking all the time to our surroundings. We need to be looking at others. We need to be looking at the threats and opportunities that life brings us every single day. While we're looking at what's happening out there, one of the important things that we should be looking at is Israel. Because God has used Israel since day one in His plans, and He's still using Israel. So there are certain things in the spiritual life and even in the physical land of Israel that are happening at the moment which will affect our lives, because the Bible says that. So while we're driving our vehicles, we're driving our lives, we need to be looking at our surroundings, and one of those surroundings is Israel. So now when you're driving the vehicle of your life, and you're looking at your surroundings, God will place people in your vehicle. Because we as Christians, this life is not about us, but it's about us serving others, just the same way Jesus did. Ephesians 5 says that we are not supposed to sleep, but we need to arise. Just the same way when we're driving the vehicles of our lives, we cannot sleep because we will simply crash. And that's what we're trying to do with Arise, to wake up the new generation and the current generation to live fully for God and to understand the purposes of God towards Israel. So stay connected with us. Go to our website, arisegeneration.org. From there you can see our awesome online magazine, which is Arise Now, and also our weekly radio show, Arise Base. You can also come to the land of Israel and experience it all by yourself and enjoy it from the 15th to the 25th of July in our Arise Summer Tour. So God bless you from Jerusalem, and I hope to see you with us. What an exciting place to be, what an exciting place to visit. I'm talking to you about the land of Israel, the place where Jesus was born, and Jesus did his full ministry and went up to heaven. We'll come back one day to this very same land. Now you have the opportunity to come and visit this place in the Summer Tour 2014. This place is colorful, it's tasty, it opens the Bible in a new way, and it is very diverse. I will give you a small tour. Now we're in the desert. The beach, culture, history, big city life, awesome food. Israel is not just camels, hummus, and desert. Israel is also modern society, and one of the examples is the city of Tel Aviv, having beautiful beaches like this. In the summertime, these beaches are packed, and you can enjoy also this beautiful beach when we come to the summer tour, to this exact same place.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.